Good evening. I'd like to call the SECA Commission meeting of December 11th, 2025 to order at 6:01 p.m. May I please have a roll call?
Broadhead,
Here.
Gannon, Kuhn, Myers, Prasad, Sakaria,
Here.
So, Syed,
Yep.
Zards,
Here.
Student Rep Amato, Student Rep Nagim.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Sakaria is joining us by phone. May I have a motion to allow Commissioner Sakaria to participate by phone?
So moved. Myers.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? And remember, when you're speaking, even if it's something brief, put on your mic, with the button on the right-hand side. So we have a motion from Mr. Myers, and we have a second from Ms. Prasad. Could I have an oral vote, please? All say aye. Aye. Any nays?
Aye.
I'm not sure you get to vote on yourself being in it, but
Sorry. Okay.
so we have all ayes and no nays. So Commissioner Sakaria, you are welcome to participate in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you've heard the roll call, but I'm going to repeat the names of the people who are on the commission and our student commissioners. We have myself, I'm Judy Broadhead, and I am the chair of the SECA Commission. The commission members we have with us today are Rich Gannon, Linda Kuhn, Tom Myers, Rachna Prasad, Kader Zakaria is on the phone, Lai So, Arthur Zards, and our student representatives, Alex Amato. And if I could, I want you to pronounce your name so I make sure I say that correctly. Tianyim. Okay, thank you. And our city council liaison is Ashfaq Syed. The city staff who are with us today are Miranda Barfus, who is the community grants manager, Jake Fiedler, who is the special events coordinator, and Melanie Marcortis, who is director of community services. Our first item is the public forum, and as we start the public forum, I'd like to remind everyone of the citizen participation rules in the city's municipal code for speaking at meetings. Speakers will be called on to speak in the order in which they signed up on the sign-up sheet. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to make their comments. Speakers are asked to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Speakers should stay on topic and be cognizant of their words. Personal attacks on board members, staff, other speakers, or members of the audience are not allowed. If inappropriate language or comments are expressed during this meeting, you'll be asked immediately to stop commenting. Also, for audience members, there is no cheering and no cheering. Actions such as applauding, cheering, or booing during or at the conclusion of any remarks made by any speaker are not allowed. Do we have any speakers for public forum?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, so we have no speakers for public forum, so we will move on to old business. Our first item is to approve the SECA Commission meeting minutes of November 15th, 2025. Any changes suggested for those minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Myers makes the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Prasad. Motion to second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Myers and a second from Ms. Prasad. Okay, if I could please have a voice vote on approving the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have all in favor, so the minutes are approved. Moving on to new business. Our first item is to reach consensus on a unified funding recommendation for the calendar year 26 SECA grant fund allocations and direct staff to submit the recommendation to the City Council for review and approval. The calendar year 26 SECA grant fund application process opened on September 5th and closed on October 3rd. The city received 86 applications this year. Commissioners received the applications for review on October 8th. On Saturday, November 15th, we held a SECA meeting where many applicants spoke about their applications and the commissioners asked questions to better understand the requests. Commissioners then submitted their individual funding recommendations to Jake, and tonight the SECA Commission is meeting to review and discuss the individual commissioner recommendations and ultimately arrive at one unified recommendation for all calendar year 26 SECA funding applications. That unified recommendation will be presented to the City Council for final approval in early 2026. After we reach consensus tonight, applicants may choose to cancel or modify their events and initiatives based on these preliminary funding recommendations. If that occurs, or if any significant changes occur, the SECA Commission will reconvene to revise the unified recommendation. And I will now turn it over to Miranda and Jake to provide an overview of the spreadsheet in front of us.
While Jake pulls that up, the spreadsheet before us shows the list of applications and their requested amounts. We have each individual commissioner's funding recommendation. These are anonymous and designated by commissioners number 1 through 8, as we currently have 8 members on the SECA Commission. The gray boxes indicate a commissioner recusal. We have a column called mean or average. This is the average amount of the individual commissioner's recommendations for each application. The commissioner has $1,200,737 to allocate. The totals for each category are at the bottom of the spreadsheet, and the allocations we input today will also total at the bottom. Since the time the agenda was published, we added one commissioner's individual recommendations and revisions to one commissioner's individual recommendations. We also had one applicant, Art Forum Naperville Partnership for Public Arts, remove their application for the Installation Alley project. The requested amount has been changed to 0. The spreadsheet on the screen and the hard copy in front of you is up to date. If a majority of the commission recommends $0 for any application, the request will receive no funding. We have 6 applications falling into that category. Application 1, Illinois Conservatory for the Arts Capital request for theater lighting. Application 4, the previously mentioned Art Forum request for Installation Alley. Application 40, Indian Nurses Association of Illinois' request for culturally relevant mental health and well-being multi-pronged. Application number 41, Lizzie's Funds request for 2 Hearts, 1 Mission Building a Stronger Community for Pets and People. Application 52, American Multi-Ethnic Commission USA's NFP's request for the Global Community Awards Gala. And application 61, Indian Community Outreach Organization's request for operations support of the India Day Parade and celebration. So with consensus of the commission, we can proceed to enter 0 as the recommendation for those 6 applications.
I see people starting to reach, I think, for their microphone. So, Mr. Gannon.
Miranda, I'm counting 7, I think.
What's the other one?
Could you just go through the numbers again?
Sure. I have 1, application 1, Illinois Conservatory for the Arts. Application 4, Art Forums, Installation Alley. Application 40, Indian Nurses Association of Illinois' request for, Illinois, sorry. Application 41, Lizzie's Funds request. Application 52, American Multi-Ethnic Commissions USA. And application 61, Indian Community Outreach Organization's request for operations. Is there an additional?
But it is the number 58. Am I right there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting 5 there.
Yep, you're right. You're correct, Commissioner. That would be a seventh application that is totaling zero, has majority zero. That is number 58, to Tribals Foundation, Swadeshi Mela Indian American Trade Fair Operations Request.
Okay, Miranda, if you want to explain, it might be helpful for the audience at home and anybody who might be here interested in that, to explain what that means to have that many commissioners zero it out in their recommended allocation.
Yes, we have currently 8 commissioners, and so when there is five commissioners allocating zero to the request, the unified recommendation amount will be zero.
In other words, we don't even discuss those.
Right.
Because a sufficient number have decided to zero them out. Mr. Myers.
This is Tom Myers. Question on Lizzie's fund. I know it's a little hard to read. It looks like there was $2,190 in the average.
No, that's a request.
The request
The
was
request.
40. The request was 40, and is the 2190, is that the average? I can't read it.
This is the last commissioner.
Right, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
if we had 7 zeros, why would there be any money allocated?
Okay, say that again,
Okay,
Tom.
so
Number,
number 41.
okay.
If I'm reading it, the average and the mean is 2190. Am I reading that right?
Yes, you are.
And then there are all zeros,
Oh,
with the
I see.
exception of 1. So if we follow the logic of majority or zeros, they wouldn't receive any funding. So that 2190 should be zero. Or is there?
Well, I don't think they put the zero in until,
Right. I would
Tonight.
like to enter zeros into the unified recommendation column for the ones that,
All right, so like for Art Forum, where they still have money for the installation alley, there's $26,000 in the mean average, even though they were zeroed out.
correct. Before this meeting, we have not indicated a zero for the average in all of the ones that have the zero. If there was a commit,
yeah.
That's,
Yeah, is that what we typically do? I'm trying to remember previous spreadsheets. But in any case.
In any
there's
case-
Sufficient zeros for that to be the case. Yeah. It's not really an average of zero. What it is, or a mean of zero, it is, it's got at least 5 strikeouts.
yeah, I mean, here's last year. The one that was all zeros. and
Okay,
It was zero.
All right.
Because
Chair.
the problem is, if you're wanting to get to the total allocation of $1.2 million, how do we get there if we're not going to consider some of these that are going to be zero eventually? Do we have to go back and reallocate?
yeah, in other words, if we added up what the requests for 1, 4, 40, 41, 52, 61, and 58 were, what is that total? And could that could still be reallocated this evening?
Well, or, yeah.
I mean, reallocated to other choices, right? Mr.
Ms.
Mr.
Gannon,
Gannon?
I spoke with Miranda at the beginning of the meeting about this. What that first column is, that's what the average is as it stands. Ultimately, that becomes a zero, but she's just showing if what we have, the numbers that were given, what is the average? Now, in the end, it's going to get zeroed out, but I do think just for Jake and Miranda, to avoid the confusion, I think in the coming
Correct.
years, make it zero.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Commissioner Zards. I have a question. I don't know if it's on the agenda because I don't have a copy here. and to me, it does have some relevancy as we go through this sheet, that for the deadline, I received the email that there were 7 commissioners and it was missing a column, and then I just noticed on this sheet, there's, the 8th column just showed up. I don't, are we gonna address that before we start?
Address that in what way?
Well, we're required as commissioners to follow a deadline, and one wasn't followed, because I actually use that data to help make my determinations. And I emailed Jake, and he said that it would be addressed. Because the reason it's important to me is that I noticed on that Lizzie's fund, that commissioner submitted money, and for all of us that were here on that day, that fund was clearly breaking every single rule that the SECA has, and
Yeah.
somebody put down $70,000.
Yeah, well,
There's something seriously wrong with that.
yeah, I don't think we're here to criticize other commissioners'
Well,
submissions.
but it's significantly, blatantly incorrect. That's why I don't want, it's odd.
Well, in the particular case that you mentioned, since we already have enough zeros, it really is moot.
Okay?
Question from Prasad.
Go ahead, Ms. Prasad.
Thank you. I was looking at my numbers, so I missed the very, very first part. My apologies. If we have 4 out of 8 commissioners voting 0, that automatically, it has to be 5, has to be majority. So if
Yes,
it's
5
15%.
commissioners would be the majority.
I think one of the things, though, it's not, it's not real, I'm sorry.
Mr. Gannon.
Yes, it's not necessarily 5, it's the majority of the panel of commissioners. Because if we, at some time, we get to 7 commissioners, it's not 5, it's 4.
Yes, in this
Correct.
particular, this year's case, it is 5. Okay. Mr. Gannon, you have a second
But
question?
I do understand Commissioner Zard's comments about this. I think one of the things we have on our agenda is talking about next year, and I think there are a lot of things we just need to tighten up how we do things. I understand a commissioner did not turn in numbers until very, very late. Frankly, I think there should be a drop dead date. If they aren't submitted, it just becomes 0. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I have a question.
Ms. Prasad and then Mr. Zards.
So as I was studying through these numbers, to me, it would be really, really helpful if I have 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 5 doesn't matter, 4 commissioners voting 0 on something. To me, that's an area of query that I'd like to understand why someone would actually give 0 money to something. Is there an opportunity to have a process where we do this and then have a discussion? Because I would love to understand why some people voted 0 on something.
Yeah.
in a
Well,
committee.
this is it.
This is it.
In
Okay.
other words,
It's okay.
our business has to be conducted in public,
Agreed.
okay? So we can call one another individually, it can't be more than 2 people. So you can call anyone that you wish, and you can, of course, always call staff members, but it has to be, you could not do a call with, 2 people or 3 people. So, or are you also saying that it's difficult when you don't see this until the night of the meeting?
I'm saying that I don't, obviously this is anonymous, so I could call anybody on this panel, but they wouldn't necessarily, unless I asked them, I wouldn't understand who voted 0 for something. And I would like to, open forum, have that discussion of these projects that we didn't get a chance to do
Yeah.
until we actually saw the presentations.
Well, the process has been that these are anonymous. In other words, not anonymous, it's one of us. Mr. Myers and I always remind our fellow commissioners that since we are on boards, that we follow the Plan Commission's rule that is stricter than that of council, stricter than the one council has imposed upon itself, that you're always going to be able to tell 2 people on this. And if anybody wants to identify themselves, there's nothing wrong with that. They can, you can say, I'm column X if you wish to do that. But that has been the longstanding procedure, has been that we have not put our names on it. And I think one of the reasons for that was this is a volunteer board. We are not paid. We are not employees of the city. We are giving our time to make this recommendation, and it has not been named up to this point.
I
Ms.
completely,
Prasad.
I completely agree with that process. I think what I'm reacting to is when we had the presentation, there's a lot of decisions and conversations and questions that we had when the applicants made their presentations. And I think it would have been helpful to have a conversation as a body after that open forum, whatever, but have a conversation between that process to us filling these numbers out. Because I feel like I did it in isolation without an actual discussion on the grants after they did their presentations.
I think
Just
we
a
are supposed to
suggestion.
do it in isolation. That's,
No, I'm not saying that we do this together, obviously not, but my point is, there's a lot of information that came up in the presentations from the applicants. After that, I think it would have been useful to have one more board meeting where we actually sat down in our square, public, however it is, and talked about some of the responses we got and had some discussion around some of the information that we found. Because as Commissioner Zard said, there was some information that we learned in those presentations that strongly impacted 7 of us. The 8th person wasn't privy to that.
yeah, they were privy to it in the sense that it's a recorded meeting, right? So the person who didn't could have watched that and seen what that was. But if we think that is something that is a recommendation that we should follow in the future, have something after that, we're going to talk a little bit after we do our unified recommendation about, well, in fact, I'll just mention it right now. Melanie, do you want to give us that little bit of information?
Oh, sure. So I know we had talked about City Council was going to, or City Council had talked about holding their own SECA workshop. I don't believe that's happening anymore. They're going to have a SECA discussion at some point at a regular City Council meeting. But that does not mean that the SECA Commission can't hold their own workshop. So if you guys would like to have your own workshop, we can certainly schedule one and at your pleasure, and we can hold the same similar type of workshop if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, because I think everybody's got some suggestion of a process improvement or something that would work better than some of the things that we are doing now. And so that'll actually be something we talk about on the agenda. Sounds like that's a perfect example.
Just to add a comment for Commissioner Prasad, I agree with you. There needs to be discussion, but one of the things that we always think about is that if we were to go through 86 applications, or even a majority of them, half of them, be very, very long meeting or meetings. As you can tell, my column with all the zeros, if you want to ask me about every single one of them, I give notes to staff why I put zero.
Yes, Mr. I think was on
Yeah.
first, and then Mr. Zartz.
I think something like 40 and 41 about, for example, the Ulysses Fund, and most of the commissioner fill in zero, right? And then if we have a process to say, okay, this does not meet our mission and eliminated it, then it will save another commissioner to put in the money.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before, and certainly we could, in a workshop that we hold, we could discuss, why that is. In other words, right now, there is no screening of we will not take your grant application. That's for us to determine whether we think it is appropriate. So staff does not say, we don't like that application. But yeah, let me ask this. Do you ever, I know organizations can ask for help actually in creating and submitting, because so many of these organizations are very small, all volunteers themselves, not hiring professional people to do their grant applications. Do people ever say, hey, is this going to meet the criteria? Do you think I have a chance Do they ask that kind of question?
Yes.
Okay.
There are many applications that we are able to, during the mandatory meetings and during all of the staff and potential applicant interactions, there are many applications that don't come forward as a SECA application, or they don't actually apply. And then there are those that, attend all the mandatory meetings, hear about, the qualifications and the eligibility guidelines, and proceed with their application anyway. And we, as you stated, when they are submitted, if we don't see a reason to prohibit the application from being reviewed for the commission, we will put it forward to you.
Mr. Zards?
Yeah, I need to go back a couple comments ago, because this is Commissioner Zards, based on what Commissioner Rachna mentioned. And this is where I have an issue, where, in Rachna, this is the time we're supposed to go back and forth and have the debates. That's why it's a long meeting. And yes, I'd like to have another pre-meeting, I think. But the issue I have with this Commissioner 8 that just showed up today, it's very disrespectful to me, because I use these sheets. I take this quite seriously, as some of us do. And I do look at the zeros, and I take a closer look at things that are out of whack. Just that's one way that I look more research. Why do people look zero? Did I miss something? And the Commissioner 8 that just showed up, I'm blindsided right as we speak. And what's really concerning with me, and maybe Miranda can do this, that last row, Commissioner 8, I was sneaking for feeling, my gut's telling me that somebody just took the average and just said, let me just take the average and just throw it down the sheet. Because to have $17,000 for something that everything had zeros, I'm guessing somebody didn't put in the work. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but this is the issue with this last minute, because I don't have time right now, and I don't want to waste everybody's time to go and do and figure that out. And if some commissioner did miss the deadline and just decided to I'm just going to do a spreadsheet and do an average, if that's true, which I hope it's not, it's disrespectful to the commission, it's disrespectful to the community. This is serious money that we're allocating. And if somebody just said, oh, I don't have time, click average. So if you can, Miranda, or somebody over there, do a quick reverse check on any of those numbers and see if it's an average. Because I don't have that's a concern, a serious concern that I have.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think, we already know that you are not happy with the late addition, and I'm not thrilled about it either. So I think one of the things I would suggest moving forward is unless there's some great excuse, somebody's in the middle of having a baby or taking care of a sick relative or, having surgery, that there's a drop dead date. And I think it's also just so the information can come out to the public and the members of the commission, because we actually turned them in, by November 30th?
Midnight.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
well,
The deadline was November 30th.
Yeah. I think I was a couple hours after midnight, but
Regardless.
yeah, it was, yes.
Yes, we do need a gatekeeper. I've expressed that in the past. However, it can't be staff. I mean, they do go through them and see if there's anything there that's a real red flag, and I'm sure you probably talked to applicants about it. But in the end, the application of the guidelines, whether an application fits the mission of SECA, that's up to us, I think. And I think that, if anything, it wouldn't necessarily, well, I don't know the logistics of it. We're talking off the cuff right now. But it'd be nice at some point in time to at least get the description of the project or the program that the applicant wishes to pursue in advance, so that we could look at it. Because I think it's in those descriptions. At least for a lot of my zeros, I read the description, I say, that's a social service. That's an award ceremony. That is a business who wants money to run their business. And if we had that in advance of our actually getting it to allocate our amounts, I think that would be the step that we need as a gatekeeping process.
Okay, now we do get that information that includes a description pretty early.
October 8th.
Yeah, October 8th, and then we have more than a month to
2 months.
a month and, 3 weeks.
I would also, again, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. I think about where we need to go, But one of the things I always think about when I look at the schedule, I think we need to build a little more flex into that schedule. It just seems like that's 86 applications, and I don't recall how many days we had this year, but it just seems like a lot of work on our plate in a short period of time, and then to add another meeting as being suggested, I'm not too sure we're going to be able to get that done.
Yeah, well, it's something we will discuss. And also, we could, when we're talking about the workshop we could just make that the agenda of one of our regular meetings as well, and even determine it tonight if we feel like doing that. Ms. Kuhn?
I just wanted to note that it appears as though it's approximately 43% allocated to each of the items in column 8.
Say that again?
It's approximately 43%.
If I could ask people, bring your mic down
Oh, I'm
closer.
sorry. I just did a quick calculation on 12, and they were 43%. So it's a straight, yeah.
Can you clarify that? I'm not clear on understanding what your point is.
Well, it was just for Commissioner 8. We were wondering, how random was it?
Oh, okay.
How was those amounts allocated? I'm just saying, I just did a
Okay.
quick calculation. It appears as it's approximately 43% of the asking.
What's the average?
Yeah.
And they use, okay, I have a question.
Mr. Myers, and then Ms. Prasad.
Yeah, and I come back to the question earlier, and I'm going to use Lizzie's fund as an example. There were all zeros but one, but the average that is in the column is 2190. So that'll end up being zero, but my question is, we have to get to 1,000,002. So we're going to be separate. We are going to be subtracting that one, art forums, all the other ones that are zero that still have a number in the mean and average. And I guess my question is, when you get down to it, and I didn't do the math, but you're going to be under $1 million probably. And now we're going to have reallocate back to get it up to 1,000,002. So what's the process going to be to do that? Are we going to go back and reallocate?
Yeah, you know what, I think I figured out the math here, because if you look at the column that has the
Average.
average,
The reason that has any money is because Commissioner 8 put money toward that after everyone had said that
Yeah.
in a previous one, that
But
it
it's
had been
still-
withdrawn.
It's still in the spreadsheet. The 17,000, or no, it's the 17 divided by 8, which is the 2,100. So what I'm saying is, we're going to get to the point where we're going to have another 100,000 or so that we need to reallocate. And I don't know how we're going to do that. Are we doing that tonight, or are we going to? It was like when Art Forum said, we're pulling. You emailed us. We then came back to you and said, I've put in X amount, reallocate it to these. Okay? So we're going to have others like that tonight that are going to be zeros that we need to say, Jake, add that back to another event. I'm confused on the process here.
Add a comment?
Mr. Gannon, and then Ms. Kuhn,
Yeah.
and then Ms. Prasad.
We also have, Tom, I hear you clearly, but we also have Commissioner 3 and Commissioner 6 with a balance.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well-
that has to be resolved too.
Well, I'm Commissioner 6.
Okay.
You can tell because of all the ones that I had to zero out. But, and the reason that is because I didn't add money that I would have given to those two other events. I don't know how you handled that last
Yeah,
year.
that's what we have done. If you recuse yourself, whatever the amount requested was, you don't allocate.
Yeah.
But you still have 1,200,000 that you can use on every other application. In the end, for Commissioner 3 and Commissioner 6, they should have worked out their allocations so that in the end, they had a zero balance at the bottom.
I've never done it that
We
way.
have not ever done it that way.
And
But then but then, Tom, you're leaving
It-
money on the table.
I understand, but that was the way I was instructed by SECA.
Yeah, and also, if we did that, it would pump up the average for others, and we could end up with a balance, with a more than we actually have.
Yes, that's true. But also, we know that because there are no restrictions as to the amount that a commissioner can recommend for one individual application, I could literally go through and find 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 applications that I support fully and max it out.
Well, I guess,
I think we have, let's see, Ms. Prasad, then Mr. Zards, then back to you, Tom.
So just for my clarification, 61, for example, has 2 line items, has city services and operations. And there's 5 commissioners who gave operations as 0. So I'm assuming that's going to get, this is 61 of the India Community Outreach Organization. So I'm assuming that's going to be a 0 now because 5 zeros across the board. So if that gets zeroed out, just asking more from a process perspective, that's a 0, but the other half still is viable as a request from them?
That's correct, yes. The allocations that are city services or operations are separately
separate,
allocated.
And I'll give you my reasoning for why I did the 0 and the 35. The India Day, the application is a combination of the India Day and the parade. So if the parade happened using other funds, I was still willing to pay toward city services for that parade. Okay?
Thank you for that, because I was wondering, I
Yeah.
saw that, I noted it, and I was curious as to why, and that makes a lot of sense. So if they come back, is the discussion, this is my first rodeo, if we see some of these line items be zeroing out, would commissioners typically say, you know what, this is probably no longer a viable project? Or do we not make that assumption? Would we change any of our numbers because of that?
Commissioners can put in whatever they wish as their allocation. But for instance, there are some projects here that possibly could happen with mostly private funding and needing only city services. And maybe it's unlikely in other words, I'm not making any suggestions, but the India Day parade could happen without the other India Day activities. You could just do the parade. And maybe what else was needed to do the parade could be found through other sources of income. But I don't think, I think we're just supposed to make the best allocation estimate that we can and not decide if something is a viable event or not.
Follow-up? So, Miranda, I think you were talking about this earlier. So if our numbers, whether we approve, are significantly less than maybe what they hope for, they can come back and say, I'm taking this off the table, or I'm not doing it, and then what happens to that money exactly that we allocated? It doesn't come back to us at this point anymore?
We have, in the past, we have met again in January or in other times before the approval of city council in order to redo the unified recommendation.
So that, okay.
Okay. Mr. Zards, I think.
Yeah, and this is Commissioner Zards, and this is just to clarify for Rachel, this is your first time, it's exciting moment, and I can get clarification from Miranda. We can pretty much, it's up to us to do whatever we want, and just answer Tom's question. And this rule of the 5 zeros, that's for us, that was an internal discussion. We can right now say 1 0, you get nothing. It's for us to decide. And typically, what I'd like to see us do is give more zeros to events that ask for a lot of money and then they're getting only a tiny amount. And I'd rather fully fund other events. And I'll have a pitch for that when we get to the allocation part. But just for clarification, it's for us to decide. So don't assume that 5 zeros. It could be 8 zeros. We can get rid of it completely. It's really for us to decide.
Mr. Gannon?
And the next issue has to do with those applications that are zeroed out, but we still have commissioners who have allocated money to that particular application. Now, they should be able to go back, take that money that they've allocated, and then redistribute it among other applicants. But that didn't necessarily happen completely here. And that is something that we discussed in previously.
Mr. Myers?
Well, a couple comments. One, Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, but you sent out an email that said, this is not going to happen because there's more than 5 zeros. Reallocate your money.
That is correct. I did not receive full emails from commissioners too. That's why some of them do have allocations still listed.
Okay, but technically, they should all be zeros because that's how you directed us. I'm just trying to clarify what I did. And then, so if it's going to be 5 zeros, and we all know that, then we can go back and reallocate, which I did on 2 different occasions. I don't know if other commissioners had that same opportunity and did that. Yeah, I did. Now, my other question is, which kind of falls into where I am, and I've been very open about who I am on this because of my other involvement. So my number comes in lower. But if a commissioner zeroes out 8 items, does he or she take that money and give it to other groups? And so technically, I should do the same thing. I did.
Tom, I'm column 2, and in the bottom, I've allocated $1,200,000,
right.
even though I have probably
So
20
I
or
was
some
going
zeros.
back to what you called out on and that was what I had done in the past. But now, based on the conversation here, I should have taken that extra money that I didn't allocate and give it to others. So, but I didn't do that because that's what we haven't done in the past.
Recusing yourself is essentially the same as putting a zero. When you think about it.
Miranda, you look like puzzled. Are you?
I'm only puzzled because what we need is for the unified recommendation to add up to $1,270,3037. It's not a concern to me whether the commissioners all total that same amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the end, the unified recommendation
Yeah.
needs to total the amount.
You could, like tonight, you could say, I allocated 30,000. I really wish I had allocated 60,000. And Jake would plug that in and the numbers would change. So you can do that. And we have often done it. There have been many times where the some allocations varied wildly. There have been other years where people were very even in what they recommended. This is the first time I can recall that many applications being zeroed out. 6 different applications. Usually it's, I don't know, 2, 3, maybe, something like that. So this is what you have put down here. You can change if we decide, as the numbers move. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to see from here. We don't have this on our screens in front of us. We just have the printout. So I don't know. Can anyone actually see either one of those screens? No, we cannot.
Thank you.
Oh, there. Okay. Well, that's very helpful.
Thank you.
I had asked that earlier, and so, okay, great.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Myers. And then Mr. Sarge.
Well, so I'm looking at mine, and I have $93,000 that I didn't allocate because I followed what I had done in the past. I'm not comfortable sitting here right now going through and going, I'm going to add another 10 here and another 5. I need some time to look at that. So, I followed what was the process in the past, and if we're gonna have excess money because of the zero outs, do we go back and reallocate and then come back to, I don't know.
Tom, you're making an assumption that every single number we have is going to be an average, which is not the case.
Help me understand.
Because it's a unified number. You can take your money right now and allocate it right now as we speak. You're assuming that by you going through the sheet and allocating every single, maybe across all 86, that we're still going to take the average. I'm not making this clear. You have an argument if you're assuming that we're going to take every single grant request and just take an average. But if we don't do that, if it's a unified recommendation. Let me jump in real quick. Maybe this will help because I have a suggestion to make this maybe a little bit more efficient. And if you need more time, maybe we do need to reschedule this. But similar to last year, I'd like us to come up with a unified number. And I think last year was like $5,000, where we said anything that's under $5,000, we would fund 100%. Because in general, the smaller events, that money for a smaller event, that $1,000 is a lot more important than somebody that's asking for $300,000. And then after we do that, I'd like to go down at a high level for the list. There's one or two things I'd like to mention that I think need to be dropped down or not funded or funded fully. And I think we can all do that. And then we take the excess as a unified agreement, fund the 5,000 or under, take those top 5 events and fully fund them, and then take the rest and just average it through the entire sheet. That's just an idea to make this smooth. So everybody has an opinion, everybody has an input, and yeah.
I think that's what we probably need to do tonight, but that's the importance of why when something gets zeroed out, we need the time to be able to go back, and we need the commissioners to proceed to do it, take the money that they have allocated to an application that's been zeroed out and redistribute it. Tom is absolutely correct. I wouldn't want to sit here and redistribute 93,000. I was able to because we had advanced knowledge that India Day operations were going to be zeroed out. As everybody knows, I support India Day very much so. I had to reallocate $180,000 because that's what I had put in for India Day. But I did it.
Okay. We have actually done this many different ways. We have had years where we just added a percentage if we, after we did the mean allocation and, did the unified recommendation and then had some money left over. One thing we can do is, we could pull out the ones where we have a lot of agreement. And Jake, can you do that for us, where maybe we can get rid of 10 or 20 where we have a pretty good agreement on what should be allocated?
I felt that, I'm sorry.
Jake, can you first go through, and those that have been zeroed out in the mean average, could you zero those out?
They are.
So that, no, they're not.
You see the zeros?
0 for the
On the
unified
unified?
recommendation.
Oh. Thank you.
No, it's not on here because it just was done this evening.
Okay.
And last year, our process was to start at the top and put a round number based on the average. And we went down and made adjustments at the end if we had to reallocate other money.
Jake, what do we have as the bottom line now?
You would have the full amount currently.
What do you mean the bottom line? You mean how much total we have to allocate?
Well, no, what has been allocated? So we're saying right now that
We have entered no numbers into the unified recommendation column yet because you have not made any allocations except for the zeros.
But then why in that, the average, the averaging comes out to 1,192,000, which is just $8,000 or so less. Seems like it should be a heck of a lot more. Oh, no,
Can you scroll to the bottom again?
no, I think what we need to do then, in that column that is the averages, not the allocation, the final allocation, the column that has the average, go in there and put the zeros, so that when we get to that bottom line, it will not have those amounts in there.
So if you would zero out the entire column,
No, no.
No.
or
No.
the amounts in those.
No, not the whole column. So for
the
example,
amounts
wherever,
across the
wherever you
board.
have final allocation 0, the column that has the averages, zero that out
That's
too.
what I mean.
Yeah.
So that each of the
So like,
commissioners.
number 1,
Let's start at the top.
yeah, number 1, not 2738, 0.
So you just take C8,
See,
zero that out, and then that should be zero for the line.
Jake, do you see what I'm talking about? The mean average?
Yes, yep.
Okay. And then you have to go down to number 4. And it says
Zero.
45. No, number 4.
Go back to the top. See,
Yeah,
the
number
mean
4.
average column that
Take out
That should be zero.
that
3,
says
4.
installation alley, right?
Yeah, wherever you have 0 as a unified recommendation, the column that has mean average as the heading, that should also be 0.
So that you would just go ahead and take like for number 4, C3,
So-
zero out the 10,000, Z4, zero out the 26,000, and then the mean average would be. And then if you do that for each of those ones, at the very bottom, for each commissioner, or whatever, it'll signify how much money they have to reallocate.
It's not going to change it for each commissioner. It's only
Why
going to
not?
change it for the mean average, because that's the only column you're,
No, if you would take the, let's say
Column F.
for C.
For number 4, column F has 4,500, that should be 0.
yeah. Actually, I don't think it matters.
Well, if we want to get to a bottom line of what's left over, what we still need to
What
allocate.
matters is our unified recommendation and what that adds up to.
We're talking, I think we're talking two different things. We still need to have,
We want to know the differences.
An
Yeah.
accurate number. So if you would take.
Yeah, let's just start doing this. So, special events, portable cameras, trailers. We have an average of 28,923.
Nope, we're talking about the theater lighting, number 1.
That was zero.
That's
No,
zeroed
that's a
out.
0 already. We've done that.
Oh,
Okay?
two.
So number 2. Okay? So we have a range of recommendations between 0 and 50. And we have an average of,
I would go with the average.
yeah, I would, and
oh,
you know,
I'm gonna go through each one.
so actually what we're going to do is see if we can have consensus, meaning a majority, who are willing to go with the average on some of these. Okay? If you want to argue about, more or less, you can certainly do that.
Okay.
But it's going to be majority rules. So,
I would also, I'm sorry, just also add that last year, instead of going with the exact average, we did hold more round numbers.
yes.
So if you would like to proceed that way, that
Yeah,
works
so,
very
yeah,
well.
I will propose that we go for $29,000. And how many people are okay with that? Just raise your hand.
Well, to make an argument, Commissioner Zards, has the police department stated that the fees will go down for security for future events since we're paying for their capital costs, which really should be out of their budget or some other budget?
I don't think they've made that commitment.
Okay, I'll just assume that would be, okay, but I'll go with the group then.
Okay, so do we have 5 people okay with that? Mr. Sakaria? Okay, we'll see if we can get him back. All right, so we're okay with that. All right, revolving mural, we have an average of
I know he is.
9,900, so let's say 10,000. Do we have agreement on 10,000?
Yes.
Yes.
We have 5? Okay, we do. All right. So Brightside Theater Programming 2026, let's call that 27,000. And we have a little less variation in that. Are people okay with 27,000? Okay? If I could see hands, that would help. Okay, good. All right. Sinfonietta, we have a average of 27.4. Let's call it 28. And is that, okay, we do have, okay, we'll go with 28. River Sounds, we have an average of 40,216. Let's call it 40,500. And we have, is that okay?
Go.
You're okay with that? Okay, so we've got that one. All right, Joyful Arts, asking for 13,606. Let's call it 14. And other than 10, we have fairly even estimates. Are we okay on that? Okay, we're good with that. Radiant Reflections 2026 season, average of 19. Let's call it 20. And pretty reasonably even. What do we think? We're okay with that? Okay, got it. Night of Broadway, average of 8,900. Let's call it 9,000. We have a pretty good amount of variation on there. How many people would be okay with 9,000?
If I can make Commissioner
okay with
Zard's
that.
a recommendation, how about we just assume everyone's going to be okay and just ask the question, any concerns, that way it's quicker? Does everybody agree to that?
No, wait, let's go.
Because, well, I do have a concern, especially when we come to some of them where there are a number of zeros, not necessarily 5.
Yes.
But there's a number of zeros, so what we're basically doing is, if we bump those up, then we're really turning to the to the commissioners who have zeroed it out and essentially said, well, your concerns about
Yeah.
this application
And
really
you know,
don't matter.
I think that's an experience most commissioners may have had at some point or another, but maybe not as many as we're seeing this evening. The next one, Impact Winter Intensive, that is one that does have 3 zeros. The average is 4,300. 4,384. Let's call it 4,500. I'm okay with that, but do we have 5, or perhaps we do not? Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have 5. Okay, Impact Summer Intensive, asking, not asking for, but the average is 7,553. Let's call it 8,000. Again, we have 3 zeros and a variety. How many people are okay with the average of 8,000? Okay, we do have 5. The Studio, asking for 4,681. Let's call it 5,000. Again, we have 3 with a 0. How many people are okay with 5,000? Okay, we do have 5. Fine Arts Festival, asking for 7,294. Let's call it 7,300. And we have 2 zeros on that, but the rest are considerably more. How many people are okay with 7,300? Okay, we're okay with that. The Story of Ram, the mean is 9641. Let's call it 10,000. We have 1 zero in there. How many people are okay with 10,000? Okay, we have sufficient. Tapestries Toward the Future, we have one with 3 zeros. Average 79.79. Let's call it 8,000. How many people are okay with 8,000? Okay, we have that. Beat to Business Evening Concerts, 4,031. Let's call it 4,500.
But there's to be a correction on this, Commissioner Zards. I talked to Michael. He changed his event, the specifications to be 1 day instead of 2 days. And I instructed him to contact Jake, and he said that the city had said that it was too late to make changes to the scope.
Uh-huh.
So I just want to let you know that I know, talking to him, that it's going to be shifted from a 2 days to 1 day event, and it's going to be about $3,000 less in their budget, if that helps, making a quick adjustment.
Yeah, well, we're giving them about half of what they asked for, so.
For a 2-day event, but
Yeah.
now it's a 1-day event, which is less. So he shouldn't get that half, it should actually be less. 'Cause it's unfair to to other people.
Well, it really depends on what he submits as receipts, if he's doing a one-day event. But you're right, we'd be absorbing more of the higher percentage of the cost of that. Yeah, we could, Mr. Myers has suggested we take down to 3,000.
That's what I was told, yes. But that's on the total budget, so you'd have to, yeah, I know, this is where it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with where it is at now.
Okay.
It is,
With the 3,000?
yeah.
Okay, all right, how many people are okay with 3,000? Do we have 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. All right, Neighbor Voice Concert Series, 5,149 is the average, and actually that, I think people should be probably okay with that average. How many people are okay with, let's round it up to 5,500? Okay, people okay with 5,500?
Judy, I just want to point out, this is going to be a public document. Some we've rounded up, some we've rounded.
We haven't rounded anything down. The only thing was, we reduced one on the knowledge that it was a one-day event. Nothing rounded down.
So this one, 4,500, it was 4,384.
Yeah, nothing got rounded down.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're good.
okay.
Thank you.
So the next one is general operating support of Naperville Chorus Concerts. The average is $38.99. Let's call it 4,000. How many people are okay with that?
Commissioner Zard, this goes back, are we going to go with anything that's $5,000 or under, just we fully fund?
You know, I've never,
Mr. Myers?
that was new to me. I hadn't remembered that, so. Was
Yeah,
that something we decided?
I thought we did. Did we want to
Okay.
decide to make it easier, anything that's under $5,000 since we're
You
going to have
might be
extra
right.
money?
I don't
just to
recall
fully
that, so
fund it?
I don't have a
Um,
problem if that's what we want to do, but
Well,
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, do you mean anything that was a request
For
for?
5,000 or under, we
For
just fully
5,000
fund it.
under fully fund?
Yeah.
Yeah, there aren't that many, I think they're in that category, but I see like number 31, that is. So how do commissioners feel about that? If something is,
I think you need to, evaluate it based on its merit.
okay, so how do people feel, Mr. Zards?
I'm all
Two
for it.
opinions? Any other opinions? Well, is the majority wishes to go forward as we have been? Going through one by one? Yeah. Okay. All right, sounds as though the majority wants to do that. All right, so 4,000 for the Naperville Chorus Concerts. 5 or more for that? Could I have hands, please? Okay, we're good with that. Singing for seniors, 34.96 is the average. That is one of the ones under 5,000. They asked for 4,500. I will,
I'll give them
I suggest the full amount, the 4,500.
yeah, well, they only asked for 4,500. So 4,500, how many people are okay with that? Okay, we have enough people okay with that. Young Adult Art Contest, let's make that 2,000. And is everybody okay with 2,000? Okay, we got enough for that. Season of Memories, number 22, averages just under 21,000. And we have a range there. How do people feel about 21,000 for that? Do we have 5 people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Heritage, let's call that an ask of 4,400, and we have just 1 0 in there, and the rest are up and down. How many people are okay with 4,400 for number? 4,400 for Heritage. How many people are okay with 4,400? 1, 2, 3, 4. Anybody down there? Okay, 5. All right. 2026 camp program, average is 16,423, so let's call it 16,500. How many people are okay with 16,500? Okay, got 5 on that. Festival of Colors, let's call that 6,300. And how many people are okay with 6,300 for Festival of Colors? Okay, we have 5. Summer Musical Technical Theater Connection Collaboration, let's call that 4,400. We do have a couple of zeros in there, but do we have 5 people who are okay with 4,400? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Okay, Kaleidoscope Program, let's call that 6,000. And how many people are okay with 6,000 for 27? Okay, we're okay with that. Community Enrichment Program number 28, let's call that 5,800. And we do have 1 zero in there, but how many people are okay with 5,800? Okay, we have it. Let's see, Inside Out Club, standalone series. Let's call that 2,000. And you want more than that?
Well, they asked for 2,100.
Okay, so we could do, according to Mr. Zard's suggestion, we could make it 2,200. Well, it's only $20 more than they asked. So I think we're. Okay.
You're opening up a can of worms.
No, you're
I
not.
mean,
We've done that many times. But okay, let's call it 2,100. 2,100, okay?
Yep.
Okie doke. All right. Summer Place Theater, average is 13,349. How many people are okay with 13,400? Okay. All right. Summer Sculpture. Let's call that 2,100. How many people are okay with that? Do we have?
That's the 3,000, so I just suggest we just fund the full 3,000.
Okay. Mr. Zards has suggested 3,000. Are people okay with 3,000?
We're going to have extra money.
Yeah, that's okay though.
So that's good.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, we can. Annual spring holiday and concert performance, average is 8,100. Let's call it 8,200. How many people are okay with 8,200? We have at least 5. Okay, the Fix-It Fair, let's call that 4,700. We have 1 zero in there, and the rest are sort of in the request ballpark or more, or one a little bit less. How many people are okay with 4,600 for that? Okay, we have 5 or more. Sports equipment swap. Those poor people. Let's give it, not really those poor people, but their only allocation was 757. Let's give them 8. Let's say 800. How many people are okay with 800? We do have a couple zeros in there. Okay. Musical ensemble, number 35, averages 5,306. Let's call it 5,400. How many people are okay with 5,400? We do have some zeros in there. Do we have 5 for that or not? Maybe not. Okay, so that is number 35. We have 3 zeros. Are there other suggestions or people want to make a comment? All right, so we did not have, oh, we do. Okay, let's do this again. How many people are okay with 5,400 for this group? 1, 2, 3, 4. We do not have 5 on that. So I will take a suggestion for a different amount, or if somebody wants to make a different case. Or we can put that in the parking lot and come back to it, okay? Let's come back to that one. Light anemones.
Commissioner Zard, I have a comment to make on this one.
On the light anemones?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm assuming we can come back to it, but there's a couple of projects that I'd like to see fully funded, and this is one of them, and I just want to state my case.
Okay.
We're experimenting with the art world. This is fairly new with the partnership with the Art Forum, and I'd like to I would like to approach an event where, or an art installation where we fully fund it, kind of like a test case. It is a lot of money. It's around $94,000, but through talking with the group, it looks like it could be about $10,000 cheaper with shipping. But the reason I wanted to fund something fully is that this is an art installation that would happen in October. Just a quick recap, down by the quarry, down by the river walk where they have the boats. And I was doing some research on this project. You know, Naperville's, some of the challenges we have with security are because Naperville's a leader. We're a shining star, so we have to have extra security at last fling. And as a leader, I'd like to see us take the lead in an art project and see what happens. Like, this would be a good test case. And this art project, this German artist, this same installation that the art form's proposing, has been in Paris, it's been in Berlin, it's been in Singapore, and that would be in Naperville, which is kind of cool. And the art form just did the music box just last Thursday. They got a lot of press, a lot of PR. I think this project would give Naperville a lot of positive press, a lot of PR. I did my own research, and it's still subjective, but the average amount of people, and you can talk to me and we can have a discussion on it, but the amount of visitors that come in through the Riverwalk in October, with that $90,000 number, it equates to us paying about $2 to $3 per person. And some of these events, like the Sinfonietta, we just agreed to pay the Chicago Sinfonietta at $27,000. I did research on their events, and they get about 200 people per event, and they have 5 events, and that's about $46 per person. So we're willing to give $46 per person for events like the Chicago Sinfonietta, which is a Chicago institution. I think for us, and again, we can come back to this, this is just my little soapbox, I think it's worth considering paying $2 to $3 per expected visitor, and that's assuming the attendance remains the same, because with this art installation, it's going to bring, on an average, with my own research, 5 to 15% increase in traffic for communities that have art installations like this at this level. And being that this installation has its own interactive data points, so we actually will collect data, which is something that's extremely useful for us for next year. So that's my high-level soapbox, and we can come back to it because we are going to have some extra money. But this is one of the ones that I'm passionate about, that I think we'd fund it, and we'd have actually hard data to see what happens next year, to see how the funding art goes.
Yes, Mr.
In principle, I agree with you, Commissioner Zard. But keep in mind, I think it was part of the Saturday presentation, or maybe it was a follow-up to a question I had prior to that meeting. I think the applicant indicated that if they were unable to get the full dollar amount requested, they could scale it back. So rather than, I can't remember how many units they had there, they would just do 1 or 2 less. Just throwing that out there. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Myers.
Well, if I had had the opportunity to put some of my money back in, I would have gone for this event. I think it's very cool. I think that river walk there will look awesome with the colors of the fall. So I would be willing to, I don't know, fund it fully, but I'm willing to bump up the number from the average. So I'm going to propose we do 60,000.
Okay, so we have a proposal for 60,000, or is this something?
Well, my proposal is fully funded.
Oh,
I know,
okay. Well, then that could be your motion if you want to put it in.
well, we're not going to do motions.
We can come back to it.
Yeah, but we could come back to it.
If we find out that we have like $300,000 extra, it might be easier. But I just want, the one nice thing about this versus other events is that it extends over the entire month of October. This is not like a one-shot deal where you have a bunch of traffic, a bunch of people coming in. And ultimately, our customer really is people that are buying food, because it's 1% food and beverage tax. What's so interesting about this location, this is usually a dark area in Naperville, especially in October. There's free parking right across the street. You've got the Riverwalk, you've got the Water Street, and you've got a bridge leading to downtown Naperville. If there's anything that's a perfect fit for Naperville to bring people in to explore our city and to set us apart, because don't forget, if you want to get a steak or you want to get a burrito, there's Chipotle's at every single city. And our project like this would be one of a kind. So I'll stop now.
Let's come back to it.
Yeah, well, let's come back to it, because it's kind of a bigger decision than some of these. Naperville AI Art and Community Festival. The average is, let's call it 9,500. We do have a couple zeros in there, but how do people feel about 9,500 for?
I did some, Commissioner Zards, I did some research on it, and I don't think it should be funded at all. It's a startup. They don't have any money. Inside, if you look at the details, because I know not everybody can go through all these 6 applications, it's very, they want they're budgeting $3,000. This is from 10 to 5, I believe, at North Central Wentz Hall, and they're budgeting $3,000 for city services, for security. But they don't know what they're doing. And they have like $7,000 of the budget is for honorariums for students, for artwork. And it says like AI robotics and AI, and I know a lot about AI, and it's very, I understand the passion behind it, but this is not something where you spend, hey, our budget's $40,000 for 2 to 400 people. This is something you need to start smaller. It's too big, and it's too much of a risk for
Sure.
cities.
All right, Mr. Gannon.
I hope everybody realizes, Arthur, I understand what you're saying. But what you're saying is that we should be going through each one of these and making arguments whether to support or not to support. We've agreed to go through and do this arbitrary bumping up, but now we're taking one and we're going to start negotiating it. And so why don't we go back and negotiate a lot of them?
Yeah, because a lot of things are a little bit more argumentative, not, arguable, I guess, than others. I'm assuming that if somebody has really strong feelings about either not funding or funding, they're going to let us know that, especially if it's a large budget item. But I think many of us, if it's a difference between $4,000 or $5,000 or $5,000 or $6,000, we're willing to compromise on that. Yeah. So how many people are okay with 9,500? We have 1, 2, 4. We do have 5. Okay, so we have 9,500 on that. All right, park after dark, another big ask, and with an average of, let's call it 74,000. Yeah, how many people are okay with 74,000 on that? Okay, we do have that. All right, holiday music performers, let's call it 3,100. How many people are okay with 3,100? And I will say that's...
This is one I think we should, I haven't said a lot on any of these so far, but this one I think there's a lot of potential there to bring people down into the business district. I think they should go to the full 4,000.
So you want to make a, okay? How many people would be okay with 4,000? We have a majority who are fine with that. Okay, next two, not doing so, and then we're up to number 42, Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. There's a city service and an operations request. They're relatively small. Let's just call that 1,500 as the average, and then let's call 1,800 for the operations. We only have 1 0 out, but if somebody has, yes.
I do it.
First one is 1,500.
Yes.
And next is 1,800.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were just repeating what I said? Oh, okay. All right, sorry. Any discussion of this? How many people are okay with 1,500 and 1,800?
I'm okay, but I'd just like to propose the full amount, just for the fact that it's a startup event with the motorcycles and they're getting their feet started. It's a great cause, and I think that would help them. Again, we'll see what happens.
You like the 2,400 and 3,200?
Yeah.
All right, how many people are okay with 2,400? Yeah. Okay. 3,200 also, you're okay with? Okay, I think it's okay. All right. Multicultural Gallery, celebrating art, culture, and inclusion. 3,600. And how many people are okay with that? Okay, we do have 5. Preservation celebration. The average is, let's call it 7,900. And how many people are okay with that? We do have some zeros in there.
I'm good.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We do not looks like we don't have a fifth. One, is that right? One, two, 3. Oh, we do have 5, okay. All right. Naperville Golden Age Summit, let's call that $4,600. And how many people are okay with that? All right, we do have 5. All right, Senior of the Year, let's call that 1,600. How many people are okay with 1,600 for Senior of the Year?
Well, Commissioner Zards, I just proposed the full amount.
All right, you have a proposal for the full amount. How many people would be okay with the full amount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Sister Cities Monarch Garden. We have 3 zeros, so the average is 582. Let's call it 600. How many people are okay with 600?
Commissioner Zards, I proposed the full amount.
Okay. How many people are okay with the 1,500 full amount? Do we have 5 for that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks as though we only have 4 for the full amount. Let's say 1,000. How many people are okay with 1,000? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Abstract window mural project. The average is 4,400. Let's call it 4,500. We have a couple zeros, but some also much higher allocations. How many people are okay with 4,500? All right, we have that. Fall musical, we're up to number 49. Let's call that 13,600. How many people are okay with that? All right. A pint for Kim. So let's call that a $19,000 request. We have 1 zero, but we have much higher, or most cases, allocations. And that, how many people are okay with 19,000? Okay. Blast ceremony, operations request, average of, let's call it 3,500. How many people are okay with that? All right. We got a 0 on number 52. Asian Heritage Fest operations. Let's call that 8,100. How many people are okay with that? Okay, we do have 5. Dia de Muertos, sorry. Average of, let's call it 2,000. And how many people are okay with that? Okay, thank you. And for the operations, 18,000, let's call that our average. How many people are okay with that? Okay, we do have 5 for that. The operations request for number 59, Batukama, and the average, let's call that 2,800. We do have a couple of zeros in there. How many people are okay with 2,800?
Just Commissioner Zards on that question, I don't, Commissioner Gannon, didn't you make a request that they never responded?
Yeah.
And so that's an issue that we actually SECA Commission sent a request on the operations, and this entity did not respond at all, which I think is an extremely bad mark. So I would suggest 0.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us.
Jake, do you have any comment? So, and what was the question, if you would remind us?
Oh, I'd have to dig it out. You do? Wasn't this the, I think partly, wasn't this one where they were using the yellow box church, and which has like a capacity of 650 people, but they want to do 1,100 people? And the question is, how are you going to do that? And they never got back.
All right, well, why don't we go back to that one? People can think about whether or not they would like to zero it out. Yeah, go ahead. It is.
Either requested 10K and 20, the budget for the fund allocation is adding up to 13,000. There's a clarification that it's
Okay,
What is it?
good point. All right, let's move on. We'll go back to that one, number 56, Father's Day Classic Car Show, City Services. Let's call that 700. I think we're going to get agreement on this. How many people are okay with 700? Okay. Jay, can you figure out if Mr. Sakari is still with us? He is not. Okay.
He's not.
All right. Okay, so number 50, number Halloween Hop, City Services, let's call that 4,300. How many people are okay with 4,300? Okay, thank you. All right, so we have zeroed out 58, the City Services. Now, the operations request, we have, oh, should that be zeroed out as well?
It's the operations request that is zero.
Oh, the zeroed out is the operations request. Okay, sorry. City Services was not zeroed out. So, but we do have 3 zeros in there. And the request was for 7,500. And we have really a big range of ideas. And how many people are okay with 7,500?
Just a comment here.
Yes, go ahead.
The reason why I have a zero there is that this is essentially a trade fair.
Yeah.
And it's a trade fair. This operation, I think, as I read at least online, they hold this trade fair in other cities. I think what we're really doing here is subsidizing a business enterprise. That's why I have zero there.
Okay. So would you like to propose that this group get 0?
Well,
Or-
I wouldn't do that because others have allocated money to it.
Yeah. And also, but it's the, yeah, and
What I'm saying, it's not my position to be telling other people how they should
yeah. but
allocate their money.
you're making your case. All right, how many people are okay with 7,500 for the city services? Just for the, yeah, city services, okay. We do have 5 for that, but 0, as a group, we have zeroed out the operations, sorry. Okay, Latin Suburban Art Walk. Averages 1,000, let's call that 1,100. How many people are okay with that? 3, okay, we've got that. All right, and the operations request, let's call that 17,500. How many people are okay with that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. All right. Naperville Neighborly Days. City Services, let's call that 12,400. Okay, all right, we've got that. And operations request, let's call that 2,900. How many people are okay with that? Okay, we have consensus on that. All right, so India Day Parade City Services. And I mentioned why I made the estimation that I did. Does staff have any idea? I know you were not getting any response from ICO, is that right, to questions? Or is it that, no, they did not attend the Saturday? And I think, Miranda, you wrote that was
They
their
didn't attend the
practice.
Saturday meeting, and they haven't in recent history.
That,
Yeah.
okay, even when they were allocated
Correct.
funds?
Yeah.
Okay, so does staff have any sense of this moving forward? This is one of the things that did not happen this year. Any sense of, I mean, there's an application, but any sense of whether or not they could do?
What I would suggest is that this is a free event, and we're not allocating them, unfortunately, we're not allocating them anything for operations. So without funding for their operations, I'm not too sure about the celebration. Now, they still could have the parade. So
Yeah, and I think that was,
I'm not sure that there's any reason necessarily to raise it $100. I don't know if that really makes it much of a difference.
no, we're just being consistent with what we're doing. So, you know, and so we have 1, 2, 3, oh. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 zeros, and the rest would really only be sufficient for city services for a parade. Yeah, Mr. Myers.
Yeah, I struggle with this one
Yeah.
as well, because last year, we had over $100,000 that had been allocated towards their event, and it was so late that we couldn't reallocate it to anyone else, and so it went back to general fund. I'm concerned, again, this year, we haven't heard any feedback from them. I did put, what?
I think you and I both put 3,500
Yeah,
in, right?
34,000.
I'm sorry,
You know, I mean, because I want to encourage this
Right.
event. I think their budget is way out of whack. $61,000 for entertainment plus. So if they can scale back their budget, was comfortable with 34,000. Where did I come up with that number? I don't know. It just felt right. So
I think we were talking about this is what it would cost. Well, you were either talking about maybe seed money or.
seed money that, you know, they may have to
Yeah.
get sponsors and so on. And I didn't want to over allocate because we might be back to the same point we were last year where we had put money in the budget and they didn't use it and therefore it was lost. So I would argue for the 34,000.
Yeah, you actually have 35, I
Oh,
think.
do I? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had 34 for operations that you were thinking of as seed money, I think. But I think you and I had the same, because we discussed it, the same reasoning that that's the average or about the average of what city services cost for a parade.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
Commissioner.
I guess the question, this Commissioner Myers, is can we have a conversation with them and say, here's what the commissioners have consensus on. What will this do to your event? And they may say, we can't do it, then we can come back and reallocate that money. And I'm hesitant, I was gonna call them, but I thought, no, I don't wanna open up that can of worms, because I was
Well,
just speaking for
Yeah,
myself.
Mr. Zards and then
Sorry to
Ms.
interrupt.
Prasad.
It's just very relevant to what you just said, because I did call them up.
Oh, you did?
About 3-4 months, about 30 to 40 days after it was canceled, and I forgot what the gentleman's name was.
Mr. Bonsall.
And because I was curious if it was the security, and security was part of the issues, and I ended up talking to the chief of police about the security, which is another good conversation. So I have a lot more faith and confidence in what the fees for the security, which is, we've got a great police force, let's just put it that way. But the answer was more like, he was like, yeah, it was part security, but part of other stuff, and it was, and I let him know about what we're about as a commissioner. So they know how this works. And when you're asking for $300,000,
Right.
and then you say, here's 30,000, that's almost like giving a 1-cent tip. It's not going to happen. And it's the classic quote, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. So they really should get nothing, because it's money. We're taking $30,000 away from somebody else. And that's just not fair. If they wanted it, they would have, and definitely we did not reach out to them. They should have been reaching out to us.
Yeah, Ms. Prasad, and then
So
Mr. Gannon.
I reached out to them as well. I have no problems with the event itself, but I don't have confidence in the organization to be able to run it effectively. Their lack of communication and transparency, I think, has been a problem. I wasn't able to get any answers out of them, so I like the event. I'm not sure if they should be the ones getting the money this year from us.
Yep,
Well-
we're also assuming one thing, it's highly unlikely that the celebration is going to take place without funding. So the question really is, will this organization still go through with the parade if they're not going to have
Yeah.
the celebration?
So we could zero it out, and it's possible that there would be, some funds available even after we do our allocations, possibly. that organization can appeal, we are just making a recommendation. They can appeal to the council for that funding if they wish to. And there's certainly going to be enough time between our unified recommendation and when it actually goes to council for them to, appeal for some funds if they wish to. Yes.
Question for staff. Didn't the city council vote to defer these allocations to the commission and that they were going to stay out of that process?
The council did vote for that, however, they do have final approval over the allocations. They are able to reallocate as a group on the dais. They just don't have that separate process that they had previously.
Yeah, in other words,
Thank
they're
you.
not going to do their own grid, which they used to do, right? They used to have their, they would take our recommendation and then they would play around with it, give one organization more, one organization less. So they don't do that anymore. But anybody can come to council, any organization could come and say, hey, whatever.
I just wonder whether part of that whole process was, if we put together a unified recommendation that totals $1,200,000, with India Day being zeroed out for operations, and if the sponsors of India Day go to the council and the council then decides, oh no, we need to have some money allocated to this, where does that money come from? It would be taken from some of the others.
Not necessarily.
Oh, yeah, there is that possibility.
Yeah. That is possible. So, what do we want to do? Do we want to go back to this?
I've
Mr. Zards?
I've further research, and here's another issue with the Indian Day Parade. I took a close look at their estimates, and it's almost comical. They have $120,000 for fencing, and based on current week-long fence rentals, do you want to guess how many miles of linear fence that is from a range? Between 8 and 16 miles of fencing. Do you think they're accurate with their estimates? You look at the last flaying, that's a group that's everybody should aspire to be to. But putting $120,000 that's blatant, like, hey, let's just throw money and see what we get. So it should be, in lack of communication, zero. I mean, 8 to 16 miles of fence.
Yeah, Mr. Myers, then
Yeah, I'm
Ms.
gonna
Kuhn?
zero mine out. I'm gonna take my
Okay.
34,000 off the table, and put a zero.
Yeah, I'm okay with doing that as well. So that gives us,
That gives us the answer.
more zeros. Okay, that's a zero then. Okay, 62, Teen Philanthropy Initiative Capstone Ceremony, asking, let's call that $2,200. There are a couple zeros in there, but how many people are okay with $2,200? Okay, we only have three, I think. So that does, we'll have to, how about a smaller amount? Or anybody willing to give them, how about $1,000? Okay, we got, again, only three. Yeah, they said, yeah. So I'm looking to see if there's any amount we can get a consensus on.
We're really asking whether or not to raise, but they have been, the average that they have right now is 2180, so shouldn't that ride?
It didn't pass. I didn't have 5 yeses on the 2,200. Let's try
Wait,
2,200 again.
Wait, we're talking number
1, 2,
62?
3? Yes,
Well, 62 has only 3 zeros.
yes, I know.
This is
But
just
if
the averages.
I need 5 votes. I need 5 yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have a recusal, so abstention, so we don't have that. Well, he has left the meeting and has not returned, so we don't. We do not.
Do we know when?
I was going to indicate 7:26 when we ascertained that he did leave the meeting.
Okay. Do we know when we lost the call, that somebody might be, okay.
Jay, could you go scroll down to the bottom to see where we are currently on our total?
5, 6, 7, 8. So.
Do you want me to keep the 2,000 in here for 62?
Thank you.
Okay, so, yeah, let's go back to 62, see if we can figure, we'll go back to that later, because we did not get 5 for 2,200, is that right? We did not. Okay, so of course, Councilman Syed, it cannot vote, so, you know, and we have one person recusing, and then Mr. Sakaria has left the meeting. But since there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then do we only need 4? Yeah, we only need 4 now, right? Okay, we only need 4. We had 4. There we go. Okay. Games around the world. Let's call that 5,400. And we just have 1 0. How many people are okay with 5,400? Okay, we've got that. Yeah, I only need 4. Healthy, wealthy, wise. Let's call that 2,000. How many people are okay with 2,000? Okay, we've got it. Riverwalk Fine Art Fair City Services. Average is 8,900. Let's call that 9,000. How many people are okay with 9,000? Okay, we got it. Operations request, let's call that 20,000. How many people are okay with that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Yeah, 20. One more 0. There we go. Last fling. Okay, now we're talking big bucks here. So the average is 141.8. Let's call that 142,000. How many people are okay with that? That is city services. Okay, we're okay with that. And operations request, 38,000. Let's call that 39,000. Okay, much less than the request. How many people are okay with 39,000? Or are you going to suggest more?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
You
a
can do that.
parade, it's a parade as well, and, you know, look at the Memorial Day Parade, the Irish Day, they're almost being fully funded at 30, 40,000. So I think their request of 75,000 is not out of line, but I would take it up to 50,000.
So, again, that is a request that combines the parade.
Right. And the last fling.
And the last fling. When we get to things about, you know, that we might want change, one of my suggestions is going to be separate out parades from events.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I don't like that mashed together budget. So you're suggesting 50,000. All right, how many people would be okay with 50,000?
Could I also suggest that we table that to see what we allocate, because we might be able to even allocate more?
We can
when we're
still
done.
do
We're going
that.
to have to go back
We can
anyway.
still do that.
Oh, then.
Okay, we do have enough for 50. All right, All Hallows Eve, let's call that 4,100. How many people are okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, we have the votes for that. Naper Nights, Howlin' at the Moon, 6,100, let's call that 6,200. Okay, we have the votes. Naper Nights, let's call that 34,000. We have the votes for that. Oktoberfest City Services, let's call that 7,900. How many people are okay with that? Okay, we have the votes for that. Juneteenth, okay, I can't vote on this one. Should I be leaving the room while this is voted
Well,
on?
I haven't left yet.
Oh, okay.
So I think we're fine.
Okay, so Juneteenth,
You want me to do
averages. Yeah, go ahead, you do it.
Okay, so for Juneteenth, we have an average of let's say 1,900. Is anybody have an issue?
Can we
with
just fund the full
1,900?
2,000, be done, make it easier? The smaller
Somebody's
amounts.
proposing 2,000. Everybody agreement, 2,000? Yep, we got enough votes. All right, the next one is the operation request. They're requesting 26. We're at 15.9, let's call it 16,000. Everybody agree, 16,000? And then, this will continue, keeping it real. The consensus was 80, 85, 78. Let's take it to 8,600. Everybody, we got enough votes, okay.
Okay, thank you. Turkey trot. Okay, city services request, averages 16,500, let's call it 16,600. How many people are okay with that?
Yep.
All right. St. Patty's Day, 5K, city services, average of 22,625, let's call it 22,700. Okay with that. Naper Lights operations request, averages 23,297, let's call that 23,300. Okay, we've got that. Sister Cities, city services, let's call that, and of course that one is a small one, so do you want to propose
1,500.
1,500? How many people okay with 1,500? Okie dokie, got it. Operations request, average 10,760. So say, let's call it 10,800. How many people are okay with that? All right. Fine art and artisan fair, city services, let's call that 5,000. And people okay? All right, we got that. Operations request for the fine art and artisan, averages 15,160. Let's call it 15,200. Okay, got that. Holiday Parade of Lights, 22,225. Let's call it 22,300. Okay, we're okay. Target and Range Frontier Days. Okay. Average, let's call it 3,400. How many people are okay with that? All right, we got it. Pumpkin Race City Services, let's call it 5,002. It's 5,258. Let's call it 5,300. Put a 3 in there, Jake. Let's make it 5,300. Okay, how many people? We got the consensus on that. Okay, Memorial Day Parade City Services. Let's call that, they asked, the average is 36,814. Let's call it 37,000. How many people okay with that? All right. WD SRA Summer Camp, averages 46. Let's call it 4,500. Okay, we've got that. Irish Fest City Services, average is 9,582. Let's call it 9,600. We're okay with that. Operations for Irish Fest, 24,776. Let's call it 25,000. Some people okay with that? All right, we got it. City Services for St. Patrick's Day Parade. Let's call that 26,500. How many people okay with that? We got that. Halloween at the Y. Let's say the full amount, 2,500. Are we okay with that? Yeah, we are. And Healthy Kids Day event. Again, how about if we call that 2,500? Are we okay with that? Yes, we are. All right.
May I ask?
Yes.
If we could have a little recess?
Yes, there's been a request for a 5-minute recess. So we will do that and come back.
Jake, could you scroll down to the bottom again? Yep, 93,000. Thank you.
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
SECA Commission.
Thanks. Please stay on the line. I'm sorry.
Hello?
Hello, is this Kader Sakaria?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Carl in the AV room. It looks like we lost your call earlier. Would you like to rejoin the meeting?
Yes, please. I would appreciate it.
All right, you are live now, so I will let you, you'll be able to hear when the meeting comes back from recess. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we are going to resume the the SECA meeting for this evening. Mr. Sakari, you can hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Okay, so I know we lost you earlier. So we are back now that we have you on. We're back, so if we're making a decision, we will need 5 people to have a consensus. So we're going to need you to give us a yes or no if there's something where we're making a decision, and I'll let you know if that is the case, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right. All right, so I guess we should go back to Jake and.
But before we go back, Commissioner Brida, this is Commissioner Zards. Do we need to allocate the money that we last year had for the special art projects, like the 10,000?
That's a good question. So we did 10,000 last year, and of our remaining funds, do we want to do that, or do we want to do a different amount?
I think, we have 93,000 left. I think when we go back to Art Forum and plug in a number there, I don't know how much of that 93,000 is going to be left over. And also, Miranda, this is a question that came up on Saturday, I believe. Can we do a set-aside?
Yes, you can do a public art set-aside.
Yeah, we've done a set-aside the last few years.
I thought the answer I got on that Saturday was no.
Why would it be no?
I have no idea. I thought that's the answer I got, though.
No, Mr. Myers?
Well, I think if I recall last year, that was when we had extra money after we did all the allocation, that was the number that we used as a set-aside. It just made it easier.
Correct. That's last year. That was, yes, the money left over.
Yeah,
it became the set-aside.
Yeah, so we're going to go back now and look at all these different things that we want to revisit. We know we have X amount of money left. Whatever's left over we could, if we all agreed, could be the set-aside.
Yeah, so I guess one thing also to consider is the set-aside was, so we have this rolling application system. So the idea was that an art project might come in that wouldn't be on the regular schedule. Now, we do have, Art Forum has formed a 501c3, so they apply through the regular process. But I guess we can decide if we want to take 10,000 of that and leave that open for the kind of project that, you know, people have proposed and over the last couple of years.
It was
Yeah.
10,000, it's
It
been
was 10,000.
$10,000.
One year it was 30, just because we had 30. Yeah.
Well, and excuse me.
Mr. Myers?
I would, once we get all done with this, what I would like to do is propose that if an event doesn't happen, such as the Indian Day, and we've zeroed them out, but if there's another event that doesn't happen, instead of it going back into the general fund, that it would go into the public art set aside.
But can we do that, Miranda?
We can make that any dollar amount we want.
No, I thought you were asking
In other words,
if
could
anybody
we-
cancels.
Yeah, we could
Could
put the
we
money
have
in
that
there.
as a policy, or that, say if somebody cancels an event and there's, I don't know, $30,000, could we have something written that says, you know, the first 15,000 or the first 10,000, the first 15,000 that comes back will be used for a set aside? Can we do that?
I believe we can do that if we describe that as our plan when we submit our recommendation to city council. If
Okay.
city council approves
Yeah.
our entire plan and allocation, you know, similarly to like our community development block grant, we put contingency measures in
Yes.
based on funding that comes later. That would be like a contingency measure we would put in
Yeah.
the SECA commission recommendation
Okay.
we give to city council.
All right. Mr. Myers, and then Mr. Zords, and
So-
then Mr. Gannon.
Go ahead.
And I just want to make sure too, last year, when all of the dust settled, we said, if city services, meaning security and so on, is greater than what the city had proposed, we'd be able to use some of those funds for that purpose. Last year,
Correct, yes, and as events have occurred, and if their estimate, or if their actual costs were over the estimate, we did use that
for
money.
city services.
For city
and
services,
So, because one year, we actually sent a bill to the VFW,
correct.
and that shouldn't happen now. If we have a policy that says if city services go over, primarily in security, it would be funded out of this set aside. I would like to reclassify it and say, not public art set aside, just a set aside. And if we don't use it, it goes back to the city funds.
But that wouldn't be a public arts set aside to
Well,
cover city
we would have a
services.
public art set aside,
Okay.
but then we just need to talk through, if an event doesn't happen, it would go into a set aside that would be intended to be used for an event like a Last Fling, where if the city services were much greater than what the city had proposed, we'd be able to use the set aside to help them.
Yes, and that has been our common practice,
Yep.
yeah.
So, but, okay, all right.
When the actual costs go over the estimate,
But if we don't have the money, we can't do it. Or we do it anyways.
Or,
We figured it out.
No, It hasn't been common practice, because when Indian Day Parade canceled, that money just went away.
Yeah.
We never saw a bit
no,
of it.
it went
did
away
went
for
away.
our allocations.
right.
But what the staff recommendation was
city
that we
uses it.
not spend it, we not, you know, reallocate stuff after the calendar year had begun, because it might be needed for additional city service costs.
I want to ask a point of clarification. When we have used the SECA underspend, or for when after the event occurs, the actual amount was over the estimate that we gave them, SECA absorbs that cost. Are you asking if if the SECA Commission allocates a certain amount of money to city services and it's under the estimate, it's under their ask, but then the actual costs come in not under the estimate, do you want the SECA Commission to pay, like to add to their allocation, whether the estimate, the actual cost went over the estimate or not?
I think we'd have to go back and look, because there are city services that we were under in our allocation. I was thinking more around the security side of it, not necessarily city services relative to Department of Public Works and so on and so on, mainly security, but that could be up for discussion, I don't know. But last year, there was a lot of money left over, and I don't know how much of that actually got allocated to city services or just went back to general fund.
So let's say, was it $100,000 between
And Salute?
Salute and India Day being canceled when they had been given an allocation both by SECA and by the council? And the staff recommended, don't think of another way to spend it. First of all, it's not going to be fair to the people who've already gotten their allocations. They've already had their events. They can't get more.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Also, we might, if some of the, because there was some problem with some of the estimates being on the low side, so you knew you might need some of those funds for city services that had been underestimated by,
Well, cities.
police or fire or whatever.
Just for the Salute last year was 167,000 was the request, and we had allocated 90,000.
Okay, so
And
maybe
that
it
was just one event.
that was just one event, and then,
Now, the other one was the India Day last year, so there was 90, and then India Day, and I gotta find it here. Where is it?
ICO. But in any case, it's another big chunk of money.
Huge.
So,
So that, when they canceled, then that money went back into the treasury?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
That's where it's supposed to go.
Not all of it. We used it for the actual cost that went over the estimate for the remainder of the year.
For other applicants?
Correct.
Okay.
yeah.
But
There's
only
was-
if the actual went over the estimate. That's what I'm saying. I'm confused if you are asking to reallocate or to spread funds back or to add to the allocation. I mean, if the SECA Commission allocation was underneath, was lower than the estimate, you didn't want us to apply all those funds.
I don't think that's what we're
Okay,
talking
good.
about
I'm just
right
okay.
now.
All right, thank you.
In other words, but we might get to a point, depending on what we decide about the boxes we haven't yet filled in. So Jake could, how much, we have, 93,000 that we can still allocate. And if you would bring us up to the boxes that haven't been filled in yet.
I'd go to the
going
number
up.
36.
Gotta go up to,
Is there one above that, or is that the first one, 35 and 36? Very different. Number 35, and can you still hear us, Mr. Sakaria? Mr. Sakaria, can you hear us?
Yes, sorry. I was trying to
Okay.
unmute myself.
Okay, so hang in here, because we're going to be taking some, we're going to be looking for consensus, and
Okay.
I'll tell you what we're going to be looking for consensus on.
Yeah,
We-
I'm still waiting for my question. Can I ask my question?
No, wait, just let me just go through these that he,
I had a question like 10 minutes ago that I'm still
Oh.
waiting to ask.
please.
Yeah, before we get to this point, because.
No, actually, let me finish what I'm saying to Mr. Zakaria, and then I'll get to you, okay? So I'm just going to tell you, we have a few boxes to fill in that we have yet not done so. And are you also following the meeting on a computer, so you were looking at the grid?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so you'll see the blanks in the unified recommendation column, and those will be the ones we're going to talk about. So we'll get to that. Okay, Mr. Zards, you had something from
Yeah.
earlier.
So we went, this is more for the student SECA commissioners, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. We went through 86 different events and conferences, and I just wanted, curious if you guys had if you just wanted to add anything. I know that you don't know the level of detail, or maybe you do, but is there anything that you wanted to add or that you liked or didn't like, if you wish to share your opinion on any events or projects that we discussed?
This is Student Representative Amato. I can say that I would be interested in either fully funding or discussing a higher amount than we had discussed for number 36, which was the lights one.
The light anemones.
Yes, that one.
It's just fun to say, anemone.
Indeed, anemones. So I would be interested in going back to that one. And then the other one that I was interested, I know this wasn't one that we had a blank on, but if we get to a point where we're looking to just kind of go back and fill in gaps as we need, was the Naper lights, which I don't recall what number that was. That was, there's so many on here. 75. Thank you, Miranda. So 36 and 75 would be my recommendations to go back to.
Okay, thank you. And how about our other student rep? Did you, anything you had a particular interest in?
Yeah, this is Student Representative Tian, and I was interested in going back to number 47, which is the monarch butterfly garden. And I was just wondering why, if it might not be better to just fully fund with the 1,500, since for some other events we fully funded them if they were
under
if they were
a certain
under
amount.
yeah, they're under a certain amount. So I was wondering why
Okay,
this
good.
might not be done for this one.
Really good point.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will take those ideas into consideration. So let's jot those down so we remember to go back to it. In fact, maybe we could start with an easy one with the monarch. That's right, number
47.
47, the Monarch Garden. That's one where they only requested 1,500 and we said 1,000. Do we have 5 people who are willing to say fully fund that at 1,500? 2, 3. Oh yes, we do. So thank you. You just got them some more funding. Okay, great. And now we are going to go back to some big ones, and then we'll also take another look.
Can we start at the number 36?
Yes.
The anemones. Tom had suggested 65,000. As you can see, I had put $65,000 there as my allocation. So I would say let's start with 65,000. If anybody wants to bump it up from there, let's hear it.
I'll go for bumping it up. And I just want to repress again that when we're allocating this money, we're subsidizing these events. And a lot of these Broadway music concerts, we're paying $50, I don't have any average, like $30, $40, $50 per person. This is $2 for the impact of the city. So that's why I would like to see this funded fully. And again, it's a test case.
Yeah.
And we will, the most important thing about this, though, is we are going to get hard data. And I think that's going to be, that's why the fully funding this is, to me, is so critical for this year versus future years, is because we're going to get that data. And when we have that data to see how many people actually did interact, now we have a baseline for other future art projects. That's my.
And how do you get the data, out of curiosity?
It's a mobile app that you'll be able to interact with, my understanding, and you'll be able to get that data. And from what I understand, the art forum is also working with the Downtown Naperville City Alliance on leveraging some data metrics that they're using.
Oh.
But that to me is a critical piece to this whole thing. It's not just let's just put in there and hope that it works. We're actually be able to see who's interacting.
So Arthur, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is the full amount.
Okay, and that full amount is, you're asking 91,000. Okay. Yes. Yes, Miss, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I would agree with Commissioner Zards. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and kind of say I would recommend fully funding it. I think that the data points would be good to see, and I do think that that's something that would be good to bring to downtown Naperville, and it's very unique in that we don't have really anything like that down there, and I think with it being kind of there in October and whatnot, and kind of lighting up that part of of the river walk would be good for the city.
Thank you. Ms. Kuhn?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, you have your light.
I
Oh,
do.
I'm sorry.
Okay, and Mr. Myers?
Just a interesting point. NDP uses Placer ID, which is a way that they can track people based on their cell phones. And I don't know if that's what's being used by Art Forum, but that would be good data, not only for this event, but as we get a little bit more sophisticated, where we could use Placer ID with some of these other events where we've questioned or would be helpful to support our grants by more folks in the community taking advantage of it. So, you know, we've had events that they will say, well, there was only 300 people there. Well, how do you know that? Placer ID would be able to say there were 600 people there. So that's just a editorial comment.
Well, I know what several organizations do is they ask people to register for an event, even if there's no cost.
Right.
Just so because they need, especially if they're doing something like ordering food or getting food trucks or something where you really have to know, are we going to have 500 people or 1,000 people? And those have been very, even to the point of asking what county you come from, maybe what town you come from, to get that kind of data. Of course, you can't force people to actually come because they sign up, but at least it's a way people get some kind of metric.
Okay, I just don't know if we have 91,000 to allocate, because we only have 93,000 to work with, right? We still have others to reallocate.
What's the difference in the
money to.
average that we had already allocated 60,000?
We have a couple more, I think, to take a look at. So we have a small one with number 35, because we were talking about $5,000, and I'm trying to remember why we just couldn't get 5 people at that point, was it? To agree on any particular amount. And what other empty boxes do we have? Jake, are there any? Yeah, we have another one with, number 55. Again, that was a relatively small amount. And is anything else? We're going to go back to. We can only see part of it at a time, so.
Yep, the ones I have are 35, 36, and 55.
Okay, all right, good. So the other two were small amounts. Okay, other opinions about this amount?
Are you asking about Art Forum?
It's a big ask, so.
And we also have to keep in mind that, as you can tell by the amount that I allocated to it, I am in support of it. But we would have a situation where this is the only applicant that we are fully funding.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's
fully,
something we should be doing.
with a significant amount, where we are fully funding some small requests, but we're, if I were an applicant for many of these other organizations that asked for, $5,000 and got 3, or asked for, $10,000 and got 4, and one event got 91, that's a completely untried new thing for the city, I'm not sure I'm willing to go the full funding.
We also always talk about we should not be the only source of funding that the applicants should be approaching.
That is true.
True, this is art. I mean,
Yeah.
it is different. And this is, and again, we're moving into supporting more art projects, and this is new territory for us, which is why the data is so, that's what I said, the data to me is the most important thing with this. It's not just the regular event. And yes, other events might say they didn't get fully funded. Well, yeah, that's life. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can,
Since 91.
oh, I'm sorry, we have a, Cotter, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
We have a student comment, and then I'll get you, as though you're up in the heavens somewhere. Yes, go ahead.
I'm not sure if I can do this, but I was just gonna say, if we aren't gonna fully fund the full 91,000, what about like 85,000 or 80,000?
Well, I
or
think
something like that.
after we have that first go round and we see what people say, there will be other amounts proposed. We, might go down by 10 or 15 each time, something like that. Mr. Sakaria? You're nodding
Yes,
yes, right.
thank you. Thank you. I was kind of wanted to ask a little bit follow-on question with Commissioner Zard, because he was talking about we will get the data. Is the city going to get the data from this app, or is it we are assuming we're going to get the data before I want to make the decision around this, at least what I want to do?
Yeah, so who does the data go to? To the people administering it?
I believe it goes to the art forum.
Goes to Art Forum, so the people who are in charge of
So
arranging it.
We would get access to the data. Now, who owns it ultimately, but we would get access to the data, yes.
And of course, I don't know, I don't think any of that is written into the application though, right? About reporting the data? Rich probably would know.
No, I have another comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying we should move forward. Right now, I said 65,000. Tom kind of suggested 65,000. Arthur suggested 91,000. 91,000 is the larger of the two numbers. So why don't we put $91,000
Yes.
out there, see how people vote?
That is what I'm going to do. Okay, so proposing 91,000.
Well, shouldn't we finish the other two first? So see how much money we have left, right?
I think we should start with this one because, it could be very little or it could be plenty. Okay? So, all right, let's try, how many people are willing to go with 91,000, the full amount? Okay, we have one, and
Can I
Connor,
propose-
I assume you are also not willing to go the full 91?
No.
Okay,
Can I propose the student commissioner, the 85,000?
okay, we can try 85. How many people are willing to go 85? We have one. All right. Let's,
84?
no, we're not going to do.
$1,
we're not gonna do
like
prices
$1,
right.
please.
We had done 65.
Yeah. Let's try, let's try 75 then 65. 75? We have 2 for 75, but not 5. 65.
I'm for 65. Is
Okay,
Zakaria.
we have 65 as a consensus, so 65. Yes. Does anybody have another comment?
That was my first vote so far tonight.
Okay. All right. So what does that leave us with? Okay, it leaves us with 25,000. And so let's first go to the blank boxes. Mr. Myers?
Of that 25,000, some of that will be the set aside, right? For art?
We can,
So I'd like to propose that we set aside $15,000 for art set aside.
okay, we can vote on that before we get to the others. How many people are supportive of a $15,000 art set aside?
I still have to ask, because I'm still not absolutely clear. We are allowed to create a set-aside fund for arts, public arts.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so I was just confused. I just wanted clarification.
We went through a whole rigmarole with the council, presentations, new handbook, and so forth to come up with that.
Thank you, fine.
Okay. All right, so we have said 65 for the anemones project, and did we vote on the 15?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
The proposal for 15,000 set aside for art, how many people are willing to do that? Mr. Sakaria?
I'm willing to do that.
Okay, all right, we have plenty of votes for that then. All right, so we have a $15,000 set aside. And that leaves us with $12,537. Let's look at the blank boxes, see if they're going to get anything. Okay, and this is the musical ensemble, number 35, asking for, well, I shouldn't say asking. The average is 5,300. Let's call it 5,400. But I don't think we could. Didn't think we could get that last time. Is that right? Or try it again. Okay, let's try it again. 5,400. How many people are okay with that? 35. That's why you always want something you're voting on at the end. Yeah. Do we have 5? Yeah, we do. We have 5. All right, they're getting. Mr. Sakari, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, all right, and I think we have one more box. Okay, and that is, yes, the operations for Batukama. And again, a small average of, let's call it 2,800, but we do have a couple of zeros in there. So, Mr. Gannon or somebody, do you want to remind us why?
I've been looking for my notes, I can't find them. But obviously, the average right now is 5,300, so it doesn't seem like there's a great deal of support for it.
27, number 55, so 2,800 is the average. Okay, how many people are willing to go 2,800? 3, okay, we got it. Okay, and how much money do we have left? Look at that. 4,000. I think we were talking about. Oh, pardon me.
Just a quick reminder: the student rep did mention just revisiting number 75. Just real fast.
Say that again.
The student rep did recommend looking at 75 one last time.
75, which is the Naper Lights, I think.
Yep.
75, yeah, Sunrise Rotary, Naper Lights, which was given which was given pretty much the average. Does anybody want to increase that, or would you rather apply the remaining money to something else? Yeah.
City services for last fling.
Okay, city services for last fling. Let's take a look at that.
Just use the 4337 added to city services for last fling. That's my recommendation.
Okay, I think that's the proposal. Add the remaining balance to city services for last fling. How many people are okay with that? All right, we are done.
I'm good as well.
Okay, great. Okay, see, it's only 8:30. It's not bad. Yeah. All right, but we do have a couple more things.
You have to vote.
Yeah, we need to vote on our unified recommendation, which would mean accepting the decisions that we made this evening. So I will entertain a motion to vote on the unified recommendation. Mr. Gannon.
I'm sorry, make a motion that we approve the unified recommendation.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposed. It is unanimous. Okay, so we have a unified recommendation. Okay, and our next item is to approve the SECA Commission 2026 meeting schedule. So does anybody have, yeah, where is our meeting schedule? I don't think I have it in the, I have seen it. Where
It is an
that?
attachment to the
Is it, oh, it's after
agenda item.
it's
It's
in
the
packet.
standard Wednesday dates with
Yeah.
the alteration in November and December.
Yeah, so it's in this packet that started with the minutes.
Question for staff, can we
Yeah,
approve it
2026.
as we have it here and then amend it?
Correct, yes, you can.
Yeah. So
And I will also mention, this isn't the grant application schedule that will come to you for approval as well, so.
Okay.
The reason why I'm asking that question is because I still think we need to put some flex into the schedule at that time of year.
Okay, and we can certainly discuss that at our first meeting in January. Okay, so if we could put that on the agenda in January. Any,
Well, I'm just going to mention that I won't be here on the 21st of January.
okay,
I could go the next week, but I'm going to be gone that week.
okay, any,
Could we propose the following week?
yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the schedule as proposed?
Motion to approve the next year's schedule.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Kuhn, second from Mr. Zards. All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Aye.
we're
I
good.
oppose.
Okay, we're good with that. And then we have to review and approve the 2025 SECA Commission Annual Report Draft, which is a very short report, right? It's this-
Yes.
Okay, so that is, the pages aren't numbered, but it's, follows the meeting schedule and has 2025 accomplishments, challenges, and upcoming work. Any comments on that? So it's a very simple bullet point report.
Yes, and every board and commission needs to produce one, and then they become compiled in a manager's memorandum in the upcoming year.
Okay. All right. Any, I'll entertain a motion to approve this as a draft.
Motion.
Okay, Ms. Prasad,
Motion to approve the annual report for 2025.
and a second from Mr. Gannon. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I didn't have to do a roll call, did I, for that? Okay, it says roll call on here. Oh,
Well, no, I just was going to go back to the meeting on the 21st of January. All these meetings last year, I mean, we didn't have a lot of them, or, so I guess the question is, what's the chart of work for January? Is there, do we know what we're going to be doing at that meeting?
It's not yet, but I think that you are wanting to review the grant review process and maybe discuss the if we want to schedule a workshop separately or do it at a regular meeting. I think those things would be on the agenda.
I'd like to propose we move the meeting to the 28th for Tom Meyer's convenience. How's that, for the record? No, I don't know if it matters to anyone, but I would really like to be a part of that, and I just know right now I'm going to be gone on the 21st.
I have no objection to changing it to 28th. Any problem for the staff to change it to 28th? Okay, so all in favor of changing that? Well, no, I should have somebody else make the proposal
A motion to change the January meeting to the 28th.
for the convenience of Mr.
For the
Meyer.
Thank you
convenience
very
of
much,
Mr.
Judy.
Myers.
You want to get me in the record, don't
Yes,
you?
make sure that's in the record.
Okay. And
We'll
a
have to
second?
confirm room availability, but
Yes.
that's
I'll second that
fine.
motion to pacify Mr. Tom Meyer's busy schedule.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's all about
Aye.
me, Arthur. It's all about
you.
me.
Okay. And does anyone have any, now we're at new business, finishing up new business. Anybody have additional new business?
I'd just like to thank the student representatives for showing up tonight and contributing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate it. And look, you got somebody a higher allocation and, you're supportive also of something Mr. Zards was very interested in. So you had an effect this evening.
I have potential new business. It's more of maybe a clarification, because I want to make sure I'm perfectly clear. I know we have $15,000 we agreed to put it for the art fund. Where I'm still lost is that, let's say 6 months from now, some event cancels and there's $50,000. Previously, we know that money, leaving out the city services, goes away. But we can propose that we can have a slush fund, an art fund that says if anybody cancels their event, that money goes into the fund up to $50,000 to be used for art. If it's not used by the end of the year, then it goes into the city's budget, which is fine. Do we actually have to make it a formal proposal for that?
We talked about that earlier in the meeting. I agree with you.
Yeah, so could I make a motion to actually do that? To propose that,
I think it's going to have to be discussed at a meeting, don't you think?
we discuss it right now?
Can that be voted on?
It would be a policy change to do that. No?
Without
Council
it
has
being on the agenda?
As long as we can do it next month too is fine, because I just want to make sure that for the fiscal year 2026.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's put it on the agenda.
Okay, you can put that on the agenda then?
New
Perfect.
business in January. January
Yeah, 'cause we
28th,
could always
okay?
change it for 2026.
Because, you know, I don't think it's a good idea to, you know, add stuff and then vote on it that, you know, members of the public would have no guess that we would, you know, even think of proposing that. Okay?
Also, thank you to staff. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who came tonight, and thank you to staff and the students and my fellow commissioners. And I hope everybody has an enjoyable set of holidays. Okay?
Thanks for your leadership, Judy.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And one more, oh,
We are adjourned.